Right, let's now take you around the world in the next 30 minutes in WION Speed News, starting with national stories first. The Indian government on Tuesday decided to scrap Hajj subsidy given to Muslim pilgrims travelling to Mecca and Medina in Saudi Arabia. The government said it will save 700 crore rupees by suspending the subsidy. The government also plans to use the funds for education of minorities, particularly girls. Amid the rift between the Supreme Court judges and Chief Justice of India, the 5-judge Constitution Bench will today hear crucial cases including Aadhaar. The Aadhaar case will take a look at the legality of the Aadhaar Act, which was enacted in 2016. The bench would take up the interlocutory application seeking interim relief against the centre's decision on linking of Aadhaar with various schemes. The 5-judge Constitution Bench will also decide on the validity of Section 377 of the Indian Penal Code, which criminalizes the homosexuality in country. The Supreme Court will revisit its 2013 verdict upholding Section 377 of the Indian Penal Code. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will visit Gujarat today. He will be accompanied by Prime Minister Modi. Netanyahu is expected to participate in a roadshow with Prime Minister Modi. After this, Israeli Prime Minister will visit Sabarmati Ashram. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi launched the construction of a $6.8 billion refinery in the western state of Rajasthan, hopeful to lift national capacity to meet the surge in fuel demand. By 2030, India's demand for petrol and diesel is expected to go up by 2/3 to 170 billion litres. As an expanding middle class spends on cars and air travel, Prime Minister Modi said that the project will create employment for thousands of people in Rajasthan. Actor Kamal Haasan is expected to announce the name of his political party on February 21st. Haasan will also begin a statewide tour on the same day. The Indian government has approved the procurement of over 150,000 assault rifles to meet the immediate requirement of its forces. India's Defence Acquisition Council, headed by Defence Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, cleared the proposal, which will address the shortage of small arms for troops. The Forest Department seized 160 Russian turtles and detained a woman in India's western Surat city. A range forest team raided a shop where they recovered these endangered turtles. Further investigation is underway in the case. According to World Wildlife Fund, nearly all species of sea turtles are classified as endangered. It says that turtles suffer from poaching, are slaughtered for their eggs, meat, skin and shells, and fall prey to overexploitation. The Spiduk Gastar, an annual 2-day monastic festival, took place at the Spiduk Monastery in the Leh region of India's Jammu and Kashmir state. This festival is usually held during the 11th month of Tibetan calendar, and it marks the victory of virtue over evil. A hallmark of this is that the mask dance performed by monks who sport various masks representing the guardians, protectors and the gods and goddesses. Moving on to international stories, US President Donald Trump's former chief strategist Steve Bannon told lawmakers investigating Russian interference in the 2016 elections that the White House instructed him not to answer questions related to his tenure as a top White House advisor. Bannon appeared before the grand jury led by special counsel Robert Mueller in connection with the Russia investigation on Tuesday. He is the latest high-profile figure to testify before the House committee as part of its ongoing investigation. Donald Trump's White House physician has said that the president received a perfect score on a cognitive test designed to screen for neurological impairment. The military doctor said that President Trump does not suffer from mental issues that prevent him from functioning in office, although his physician said that he could benefit from a lower-fat diet and more exercise. In a U-turn, U.S. President Donald Trump has said that he wanted the United States to draw immigrants from nations around the world. This comes after reports stated that President Trump had repeatedly used the derogatory word while speaking about African countries and Haiti. Trump, however, denied using that language. The heated debate around Brexit, that is the United Kingdom's imminent departure from the European Union, continues in the UK. Meanwhile, the top officials of the European Union are softening towards quote-unquote their British friends. Addressing the plenary session of the European Parliament, the President of the European Council, Donald Tusk, reached out to the United Kingdom in a much softer tone than heard in Europe since the UK referendum was held to leave the European Union. In an embarrassing situation for a British MP, Desmond Swayne appeared to fall asleep during the Brexit debate in House of Commons. Conservative politician Ken Clarke was giving major speech on EU withdrawal bill. Swayne leaned his head to the side and appeared to nod off after Clarke raised his voice when talking about the Charter for Fundamental Rights. Swayne jolted back, resting his head in his hand, and smiled. Thousands of supporters of Catalan independence gathered in Barcelona to protest against the imprisonment of Catalan leaders ahead of the maiden session of Catalonia's new parliament. Jordi Sanchez and Jordi Cuixart have been in prison for 3 months. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has said that a war with North Korea is avoidable. The UN chief has urged direct talks between key powers on dismantling North Korea's nuclear program. North Korea's ability to build an intercontinental ballistic missile capable of hitting the United States with a nuclear warhead has raised fears of a devastating conflict. Over 100 African migrants were rescued by Libya's Coast Guard north of the city of Garabulli. Coast Guards officially received a radio signal from the Italian Coast Guard, who spotted the migrants after their engine had failed during their journey. Several hundred migrants have been rescued in the past week alone, and officials believe the number of departures will rise in the coming days. French President Emmanuel Macron met with several aid organizations helping migrants in the northern city of Calais. Macron has been criticized for the legislation his government is drafting to speed up the processing of asylum demands and help it expel illegal migrants who do not have a legitimate cause for refugee status. At a speech, Macron said that he would get tough on police if they use excessive force against migrants, but defended the security forces against allegations of brutality leveled by certain charities. More than 5,000 children in Yemen have been killed since the conflict started in March 2015. According to the United Nations Task Force in Yemen, child deaths since the conflict escalated in March 2015. Yemen is also facing the world's worst humanitarian crisis, where 8.3 million people are entirely dependent on external food and 400,000 children suffer from severe acute malnutrition, a potentially lethal condition. Bangladesh and Myanmar have agreed to complete repatriation of hundreds of thousands of Rohingya Muslims within 2 years. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres and the UN Refugee Agency has, however, expressed concern about forcibly repatriating over 650,000 Rohingya who fled to neighbouring Bangladesh after conflict erupted in western Rakhine State in August last year. American TV channel Lifetime has announced to make a TV movie on the love story of soon-to-be-married couple Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. The movie will chronicle the love story between the beloved prince and his new fiancée, tracing their relationship from being set up by mutual friends to getting engaged in November 2017. After the enormous popularity of his super-hit songs Sundari Pene and Johnny Popular, Malayalam actor Dulquer Salman is back with yet another music track. Dulquer's latest song from his upcoming movie Kalyanam has gone viral on the internet. In a series of pictures that went viral, Bollywood sensation Deepika Padukone is seen donning the avatar of a traffic cop. The actor was wearing the uniform of a traffic cop during the shooting of a TV commercial. Timothy Chalamet becomes the most high-profile male actor to publicly disavow Woody Allen. He announced that he will be donating his salary from Allen's upcoming film Rainy Day in New York to the Time's Up initiative against sexual assault. Notably, Allen has been accused of sexual assault for several years by adopted daughter Dylan Farrow.